Welcome, 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 everybody. My name is April, as you all know, and my spirits and I together, we are called Australia Students. Welcome to the Conspiracies podcast. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about what we can expect for 2025. I know I've been asked so many different questions, but I really would like to incorporate a little bit of the astrology and what we can expect, but also some downloads and some information that my spirits really wanted to bring up to the surface and just really shine the light on and get into some discussions about it. Um, Depending upon how this goes, I might be doing a part two, only because there's a lot to really unpack here. So I have pages and pages of just channeled notes and astrology notes and just things I wanted to really bring up today for all my listeners. I first and foremost want to start off by saying this is our 2025 and the astrology alone is so eerily similar to some big major things that have happened in our world. And these transits are so incredibly mirroring. For instance, we got Pluto that just moved into Aquarius in November of 2024. I am recording this, and there's a few days left here of
28th.
yeah, the 28th of December 2024. So, but Pluto has moved into Aquarius in November. So, and the last transit that this actually happened made history. Um, that was in 1771 to 1798, excuse me. And that was the French Revolution. And this is all about like power to the people, that kind of energy. So it's very strange how these transits again are mirroring major events. For instance, we got Neptune moving into Aries, and the last transit that this has happened was in 1861 to 1875, and that was the American Civil War. This is all about the radical ideologies, things like this. Like, I mean, it was just that energy really kind of pulls in that Neptune in Aries vibe. So it's just quite eerily mirroring some of the stuff that we're moving into this 2025 energy. And I don't say this to scare you, I say this to give you a perspective, right? Then we got Uranus moving into Gemini in 2025 on July 7th. Excuse me, I almost said 17th. Excuse me, the 7th. And the last transit that we've had was when we had World War II. Okay. And that was in 1941 to 1949. So this is about innovation through conflict. So there's just like this weird kind of stir that's going on moving into 2025. Now, a lot came up about Donald Trump and his time in office, like moving into the future. I did see quite a few things. And what really stood out to me the most, too, just kind of getting the downloads and information, I was picking up on a lot of stuff going on in the UK, the United Kingdom, England, those areas. There was so much stuff going on there that it was like almost distracting me because I was, because I'm an American and I was focused a little bit more on the what's going on with the United States because we have a new change of administration. Everyone's curious how this is going to go. And there are some of these transits that are kind of making me wonder even about the United States economy, and how we may be seeing some stocks or some crashes here. So we need to be prepared for that with the new administration moving in, but it will be quickly fixed. The inauguration was something that also Spirit was really getting into in depth. And I am concerned about Donald Trump's safety. I mean, this was just something that Spirit brought up. Um, that there may be a possible another assassination attempt near the inauguration or sometime after when he's in office. This was really strong that came through. I know a lot of people had asked me about the drones that were going on in New Jersey, and people were asking me about, is this an alien invasion? this is all government, you guys, because there's something going on with chemicals or some type of, biohazard. Spirit showed me the biohazard symbol, like something that could be dangerous for our citizens, right? And what these drones are doing and what they had showed me is they detect and they have a sensor in it. Like they even have night vision where they're very, very, uh, these machines are just powerful. So they can see things at night and they can sense things and smell things. And so they're detecting and looking for some type of chemical. That's what my spirits told me. If we want to get into the depths of what that possibly allegedly could be, I mean, it could be like um, chemical warfare, things like that, things that we could be vulnerable for. So these drones are detecting it, but it's coming from the government. So people are like, is this an alien invasion? I'm like, no, this is just the government. The ETs have already been sniffing around on our planet for quite some time. So it's not like this is suddenly happening. They've known this for a long time anyway when it comes to the aliens and all this stuff. But that's a whole nother conversation. Let's get into a little bit about the astrology and talk about what we can anticipate and expect. Okay. Um, First and foremost, I do want to start off by saying um, that we have the nodes changing. This is a big deal. So we're basically moving into this portal of the unknown when Neptune aligns with the North Node in Pisces. Okay, this is coming up in February of 2025. This is powerful. Okay, this means that there could be some random events that pull you towards a new direction. Um, Big new karmic cycles unfolding as these lunar nodes shift into Pisces and Virgo. And this is a big deal, okay? And this is shaping our individual and collective focus all the way until July 26, 2026. So, those with predominant placements that are listening in Virgo and Pisces, Gemini, or Sagittarius, especially Sun, Moon, and Rising, expect some powerful shifts and karmic lessons. Um, this will realign you much more importantly to your higher path. Okay. But this is a call for reorientation of our priorities. And we're moving away from this materialistic mindset, right? We had a lot of that Pluto and Capricorn stuff where corporate was everything. So it's now more moving towards this spiritual, like intuitive and balanced way of being. So, which is quite extraordinary. And keep in mind too that like when we see these nodes change, we're going to see a lot of people really um, tapping into their health. Okay. Where it's like we're not so much like I'm seeing a big shift in healthcare and the way we look at our health, the way we look at toxins. I'm predicting that we're, going to be seeing like a change on what we have been putting out into our environment, into our food, into our water. A huge shift, you guys. Big time because of these nodes changing. That influence, big time. So chemtrails, stuff in our food, processed foods, the way we look at pharmaceutical companies and the way we look at what we're, take this pill to fix this. Like people are going to be more in this holistic type of like, is there another way? Like alternative medicine. This is going to be a big movement that's happening. And we will slowly but surely start seeing laws being voted in of trying to push a lot of this stuff out of our environments and our food and our medicines. So be prepared for that as well. January 6th, we have Mars retrograde in Cancer. This is going to be a big emphasis on home and family and domestic matters. Okay. March 1st, everyone's been talking about this, is like March is going to be a big month, you guys. So for astrology, just in general. So we're going to be really feeling it. Okay. So what's really interesting too, with the astrology of 2025, okay, 2025 is a 9 year. 2024 is an 8 year. It's all about the karmic loop, karmic relationships ending, things really wrapping up and coming to a close. Very scorpionic, if you really think about it, because the 8 number is also correlated to Scorpio. So what do we think of with Scorpios? Death and rebirth. So all the things that are no longer serving us and our highest good are slowly decaying and falling away. As we move into the 9 energy, which is very cohesive and very nicely aligned with Sagittarius 9. It's a very holy and powerful number. It means that we're not quite complete and we need some time. So that may take some risks, venturing out, exploring, and travel. Be ready to extend your radius and travel to find out what home means to you. Because Sagittarius is all about the adventure and like, okay, what's out there, and learning and obtaining knowledge, right? And also teaching others what you have learned along your travels, along the way, along your adventures, what you've accumulated. It means you have to share the knowledge that you've learned and earned. Okay. So just be prepared for us buttoning things up that we just got through in 2024, which is that karmic close, like the karmic endings, especially with relationships, has been huge. I know some of you are listening about this. Very scorpiotic. We've been seeing a lot of divorces, a lot of like people breaking up and just like weird stuff happening, jobs ending where you just can't keep doing the same shit. It's like, we're over it, we're done, we have to move on in a different direction. So with this 9 energy, we are being challenged to like venture out of our comfort zone, to be resourceful. It means that we are much more blessed. To be flexible, we are much more blessed. So that Pluto in Aquarius is also going to be opening up a lot of AI stuff. We're going to be seeing AI taking over a lot of things. Here's what's interesting. As I jump around and move through this whole 2025 prediction reading here, is I feel like the first like 1 to 3-4 months is going to be so slow to start. So slow to start. Like, I was just telling my co-host this, like, everything is going to feel like you're just in quicksand from like January, February, March, April. You're going to be like, oh my God, why is this so slow? So we're going to be feeling like that at the start of the year. And I was telling my co-host too as well, we need to be very careful with big purchases, right? I was telling you that. And we want to just take it easy, and it's great to be like action based, but try not to rush in the first, from January to April. Take your time making decisions, okay?
So don't jump in on like buying a new car, buying a new home,
Things
or
like
selling
that.
houses.
Big house, yeah, purchases of homes, cars, like, just take it easy. It's great to be optimistic. It's great to be ambitious about certain things and be like, oh, this is going to do it. This is going to fix it. We're going to be happy. But you want to be careful, because I feel like we're going to have problems with a little bit with the American dollar. Okay. We're going to see some stock market issues. I'm concerned that we may see a stock market crash. Now, I hope that I'm wrong, but I think it's possible. So we want to at least try to hang out a little bit longer until we can kind of at least get through March, like late March, April, because the astrology around March is pretty tough. We got retrograde stuff going on here. I'll give you guys a rundown of the retrogrades and just kind of read it off to you, because this is crazy. It's like, what is going on? Okay. I'll start off with Mercury. I got my notes here. Let's see here. So Mercury retrogrades of 2025 begins March 15th through the 29th in Aries, March 29th to April 7th in Pisces. Again, this is Mercury retrogrades, okay? The second Mercury retrograde of 2025 is July 18th to August 11th in Leo. Then we have the last Mercury retrograde of 2025. That's November 9th through the 18th in Sag. And then we have November 18th through 29th in Scorpio, my friends. Okay, but Venus retrograde, we got to watch out for our relationships. Things didn't button up or clear up in 2024. They're definitely going to be coming up for a big show and a big drama during this time. So pay attention to personal relationships, okay? 2025 Venus retrograde dates are the following. March 1st to the 27th in Aries, and then March 27th to April and 12th in Pisces. So of course, everybody knows that when Mars retrograde hit, it felt like we just couldn't seem to get things done. For those of you you're feeling what I'm saying here. It's been going on in December. It's just like every time I get to something I can't get to it, it feels so, because Mars is the planet of action. So you really feel like you're just trudging through quicksand. It feels like plans have changed. It's like you can't seem to accomplish that one task, that one thing. Well, the 2025 Mars retrogrades are the following. Okay. January 1st through the 6th in Leo, and January 6th to February 23rd in Cancer. So, I mean, there's just a lot to think about too with astrology, because all planets except for Pluto will be either going into new signs or have major transits. This is this is just wild for 2025. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So we are really in some essence of the way hitting the reset button altogether. Just in general, like starting over, just trying to like finalize some things in every direction of our life, from our money to our finances to our relationships to our health. As I've been talking about, health is going to be a big theme. But we're going to have to be willing to take some risk and explore. And many of us may be finding ourselves at a crossroads right now in December 2024, where we're like, what is it that we need to do? And it's going to require you to completely venture out and step outside your comfort zone. Um, a lot of you are just really set in your ways to some degree, or thinking that you're just going to keep doing the same stuff. And the way the astrology is talking and well, not talking, but moving us in this direction very gracefully, by the way, and very slowly. We're not going to be, slammed with change, but with the spirits and the ancestors' help, you will be forced to change. And something has to change, but it's like, I don't want to complicate things. Why? I'm comfortable in this space, but it's not working, because that's what stagnancy is all about. That is the signal that something has to change if you know it's not working. So pay attention to those feelings and lean into your guides, angels, and ancestors in terms of what it is that you have to do in order to change some things. Real estate's going to be huge in 2025 moving into 2026. I saw people, a lot of people, from what Spirit showed me, dumping their houses, and then people pouncing and coming in and then buying everything up. And I kept seeing this in a pattern and a theme consistently over the last like 6-7 months. So I know it's coming. I know it's on its way. The other thing I want to get into is we have to be careful with the storms. There's a line of Pisces for those that are really into astrocartography. There's a line of Pisces that runs through like Florida and those areas, and we saw Hurricane Helene, and the terrible destruction that was going on there. Definitely wasn't natural. Okay, they had some help with the seeding of the clouds to make that even worse than it needed to be. I talked about that in one of my episodes. But I'm predicting from what Spirit had explained to me that there will be some more storms blowing through there. We need to be careful, and there might be something that comes up again. Not as destructive as Hurricane Helene in those areas, but I'm anticipating something like this through summer and fall of 2025. Some big storms will hit through those areas like Tennessee, the Carolinas, Florida. We have to watch it in those areas. If there's a line of Pisces running through anything, expect a lot of water damage and just stuff like that naturally in those areas, which has kind of been the theme in some of those areas, but it just seems like it's just picking up and things are getting worse. But Spirit says, hey, there's going to be another storm around that time. So pay attention between summer and fall of 2025 for some of these storms, okay? I'm feeling and picking up on more stuff in the news about volcanoes erupting, because stuff is moving around in planet Earth. This is going to create some earthquakes. Okay. We need to watch our water. I've talked about our water. Mm-hmm. Water is a huge theme, so we have to protect the health of our water. So, meaning, contaminants, toxins. I'm seeing like with our new administration, I feel like RFK is going to really change some things with the water. I've already heard about that in the news that he's talking about taking the fluoride out of the water.
Yes, he has been
Yeah.
speaking about that.
But water, and I've been talking about this for years, you guys, that water is going to be like the new luxury. No one's going to want the fancy bags and the fancy cars anymore. They're going to want fresh water, and they're going to be willing to spend some serious cash just to get it. That's how luxurious water, fresh water, is going to be. So we want our plants to grow, that we want them to be healthy. We want to eat, we want good crops. So this is going to be a big chat that's going to be coming up in the news about fresh water. And our waterways and our channels and things like that, globally, internationally, here in the United States, they're going to be much more surveillance because there's going to be a lot of tension around resources. I feel and I will predict that we will maybe seeing a change, okay, of trades and goods from international countries, that they'll either be stopped or they will be limited. And I will say this again. There will be a change of global resources. They will either be stopped or they will be limited. Now, I don't know why Spirit is insisting on saying this, but I'm often wondering if the channels will be fought over, meaning where the ports and the ships are coming in, there's going to be tension around our waterways, channels, ports, ships, those areas where things international, like trades and goods, like certain countries will be stopped. So I'm prepared for this myself. So if you have certain resources and things that you get for your businesses and just different things out there, just be mindful, keep your eyes peeled, and keep your eyes very much watching and keeping an eye on certain things when it comes
What's
to.
odd you said that. I was watching a video on Russia currently. They're building icebreaker ships so they can actually ship their crude oil and their oil all the way to China without having to go through canals. So they don't have to go through, Egypt, through the canal through there. They can actually just ship it like straight direct, just go through the ice. They can break through the ice to get to them. And they're building a bunch of these icebreaker ships just to get through like the Arctic area.
I had no idea that was going on. Yeah, because I've talked about, remember I was talking about this last year in 2023. I said, hey, we need to be mindful of our channels, our waterways and canals. There was a lot of talk that my spirits mentioned over the Suez Canal. There's a lot of interest over there of them widening it because nobody wants to spend the gas to have the ships go all the way around Africa. And Spirit kept insisting that we talked about that, but nobody really wants to talk about it that much. But I've been talking about it for about over a year now.
Yeah, and then Trump just talked now about the Panama Canal, talking about possibly taking it back.
Exactly.
From Panama.
Exactly. Yeah. So my spirits are on the money here. They want to bring up, they're calling it the war over water, but water also includes waterways, channels. And I say war, I'm not saying like war. I'm just saying like battles and fights and like, no, it's mine. Because if you control these waterways, you control the money and the resources and the trades. So we're going to see a lot more of this going on as we move forward. Okay. I see closures of the borders coming, and I see change in immigration laws and deportation. This has been coming up a lot in the last 2 weeks since my spirits have been all up in my ears about 2025 energy and what we can expect. This is more so coming up in the United States. And here's another thing. They brought not only that up for the United States about the borders, but they're talking about the UK, and they wouldn't shut up about it. So something about UK, the borders, and about how something is getting ugly with certain issues over there. I feel like UK is going to be coming up in the news quite a bit.
Yeah. Seems like there's a lot of conflict just in like the civilian specter of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. I know for those that are really into the celebrity stuff, I do feel I don't remember their names. Sorry. I don't really get into all that stuff, but I think it's Megan and who's the other guy?
I actually don't pay attention to. They're talking about the royals, like the royal part of the royal family. Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue.
Megan and is it Prince Harry? Is that his name?
I don't even know. I can look it up.
Can you Google that?
Yeah.
I'm just like, sorry guys. I don't spend my whole life like reading about them all the time, but I know that I think they moved to the United States. I heard about something like that.
She's with Prince Harry. Yeah.
Yeah. So Meghan and Harry, I'm worried about a possible split with these two coming up. And then I also want to bring up he's King Charles now, right?
King Charles, and then his
Okay.
brother is
I'm
William.
worried about that man's health. I don't know how much longer he has. So I heard last that he had cancer, but I'm just saying, Spirit brought up his health, and they put a question mark over it. They did a giant question mark like this in the air, and they're like, hey, we don't know what's going on with that, but it doesn't look good. I also feel the relationship between Kate Middleton, is that her name, and the other brother,
is it William?
Prince William.
Yes.
I'm very concerned about their marriage as well. I think their marriage is on the rocks. Okay. Also, Beyonce and Jay-Z, their marriage, I've been talking about this since 2023, that I felt that they would be due for a split and a divorce. And I feel like it's on its way due to Jay-Z and a lot of the allegations and court things coming up on him. And I hate to say this, but I know that some of the people are saying this is alleged. I do believe that there's a lot of stuff out there that is true. Okay. And I talked about this in the next 3 years. We're going to see the falling of the stars. The next 3 years is going to be nothing but litigations, lawsuits, people suing each other, people stepping down, people getting fired, people passing away. And that's where things get scary, because if they get caught, they would rather snuff someone out than actually have this information get out, right? So that's what's dangerous about these celebrities. And here's the thing: I see a big shift in them tackling sex trafficking and the rise of this pedophilia stuff and human trafficking. They're really going to nip this in the bud, and they're going to start busting and cracking down a lot of these types of things going on. This is going to be huge. At least I know for the United States they are. They're going to start moving in on a lot of this stuff. A lot of these celebrities are going to be leaving the country, especially if they have something to hide, and they're going to claim the reason why they're leaving the country is something different. And that is not the case, because the Epstein list is coming out. And people are going to be prosecuted for that. I'm anticipating and expecting this slowly but surely, one by one, they'll all go down. The other thing that I wanted to bring up that really blew my mind is I see a big earthquake on the West Coast. But what really blows my mind is it's like a part of me feels like it may show up in June, July, August. But the timing of this could very likely be in, I believe, 2025 or 2026. I believe there should have been an earthquake that already was supposed to happen, but I feel like there's been a lot of prayer and protection behind this where they stopped it. You know that earthquake that happened in Japan?
Yes.
At the first of the year, 2024?
Yes.
I believe that earthquake was meant for the West Coast.
Huh.
I think it was a 10-point error, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think it was, because when it happened, I remember initially, I remember thinking to myself, gosh, that I felt that it was for the West Coast, or at least maybe California, or just the West Coast in general. I felt it was meant for, I'm on the West Coast, so it meant for us. This is my intuition talking, and this is what my spirits had mentioned.
They had a 7.1. And then they had
it was a 7.
And then January 1st, 2024, they had a 7.5 and 7.6.
Yeah, I believe that there's going to be a major earthquake. And it's going to be a big one. This is not like a little rumble that, most of the West Coast is used to. And we have to be careful of the sea coming in, okay? That's a big thing that people that are living on the coastlines and stuff like that, be careful with the water coming in due to a little bit of a rumble here. So I'm anticipating a possibility of a big shaker coming. I keep getting the month of June though, so I will honor that, like June, July, but I keep hearing the J. So June, July 2025. I feel like it's very possible that we could have a big rumble, and to me, it's going to affect California and the West Coast. But the water is coming in. These volcanoes are also starting to erupt because the earth is moving around a bit, which I'm anticipating the earthquakes along with that.
Yeah.
So I need to really pay attention to this stuff. So um what else did I want to bring up? You know, I feel also too that Donald Trump is going to have a health issue at some point in his time that he's serving here for the United States.
Yeah.
So I feel like it could happen in the second term
Hmm.
or the third.
Okay.
I also want to bring up brought up the war over the waterways, brought up the channels. Oh yeah, yes. Spirit was bringing up because everyone's been talking about the war in Ukraine. I know that that's such a huge
Hmm.
thing. I feel like from what Spirit had told me that Donald Trump's going to find at least the westernized countries are going to try to find a way to soften those areas, that all that stuff that's going on over there. They're going to try to like make peace
Yeah.
with that over there. I think eventually it will come to a close, but I can see these attempts to try to slow this down. Well, stop it, but
In
at
the war,
least,
yeah.
yeah, but at least try to like tire them out and say, hey, are we done? You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, out of after it's all said and done, I know Spirit mentioned a lot about Russia.
Yeah.
And I feel that the United States, even though the United States is a big country, I feel like the dominant country at some point could end up being Russia
Huh. It's
after
wild.
it's all said and done, because China, I don't know what's going on over there, but I didn't quite get this feeling of that. I felt like somehow some way Russia could kind of turn up on top.
Yeah. Well, China's in real economic turmoil right
What's
now.
going on with China?
Just their economic system is just falling apart. They're like their value, the dollar value for them is falling apart. They've spent so much money on building, and the country is kind of stopped building. So they have like these ghost towns, and they're not able to keep up that momentum in their economic system. So it kind of puts them in a real like almost like a stall, and they're trying to recover, and they're trying to figure a new way out. They're buying tons of gold, and they're trying to build this new brick system, which with Russia and India and Brazil and a few other countries, they're trying to make their own money so they can basically make something that's like comparable to the US dollar,
Mhm.
and they can make it a standard, but I'm not sure they'll be quite able to pull it off. Russia, on the other hand, is doing pretty well on the financial system.
Yeah, it's so interesting that, I mean, of course, do with the messages what you will, you guys, those that are listening, okay? Spirit is just giving me information and I just drop the information. And when they keep insisting that I say it, then I will say it. Okay. So, but they did tell me that Russia could end up being on top, and that the United States, or at least westernized countries, um, won't have as much power. But if they get more control over these channels, which sounds to me like Donald Trump's interested
Well,
in.
yeah, he wants the Panama Canal, and then,
Mm,
I mean, if Israel takes the Suez, which they're talking about, you talked about the Ben Gurion Canal, they want to develop their own.
mhm.
If I mean, that means U.S. has hands in that too, in a
Yeah,
sense.
this is going to, again, war over, or battles or fights over over these waterways is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. But I do feel like there's one more thing I wanted to bring up, and it was like something that, okay, I see a lot of illness in the UK popping up. Illness, almost like, I don't want to call it like another pandemic,
Yeah.
but I feel like the UK is going to see a big surge of illnesses, like
Hmm.
weird stuff popping up over there.
Hmm.
And so maybe they might call it another pandemic, but it's something that I've been suspicious of. Because I told you right as I was opening with this whole recording, I was like, UK just kept coming up over and over and over again. They got problems after problems. England, UK. Um, but there's like this surge of like illnesses that are popping up, and I'm not sure what that is exactly. Um, and I don't want to quite call it a pandemic, but they might say that.
Okay.
But I do feel like there's going to be something like, like another COVID or something that could
Hmm.
come out. You know what I mean? Where everyone just freaks out. But we have to be careful with Pluto moving into Aquarius too, because that energy too can really amp up things with AI, where AI is taking over um, our jobs. And, people can't go to work anymore. You know what I mean? So I feel like because of this, the trades are going to be where it's at financially for people: plumbers, electricians, construction workers. The trades and the ports is where the money is going to be at. So if you're looking to make money, besides like AI stuff, people working in on technology and applications, that's going to be huge. Digital marketing, huge, because everything is going to be really fast.
Hmm.
A lot of fire energy, a lot of air energy for 2025, because people want to hear it, they want to see it, and they're moving fast. So that advertising, like that fast-paced advertising, is going to be huge market too, huge energy. But I feel like I feel a huge trade in the surge of or a huge surge in trades being like where the money's at, like the grunt work stuff, but
Yeah.
versus the desk jobs,
Hmm.
because a lot of AI is taking over a lot of that stuff. You know, um, I I talked about that with the UK, and there's some other stuff I really want to get into because, like I said, there will be a part two to this. I wasn't sure how this was going to go, but this is kind of like what I've been um, just kind of nestling through my notes over the last 6 months and just really kind of getting a vibe for what we can expect. I do feel like these murder cases for these rappers, I feel like Tupac's case is going to be reopened.
Okay.
Maybe even Biggie Smalls or some other people. They're going to go back to the how it all started,
Hmm.
and they're going to start getting people like in trouble,
Yeah.
all because of Diddy being put into jail.
Huh.
So, but here's what's really dangerous. If we have this administration coming in, they're literally going to clean everything up in this administration, like to the point where it could get dangerous.
Hmm.
Does that make
Well, I
sense?
know they're
Because
talking about shifting around things with the FBI, the
that's
CIA,
what I'm
all these. Yes,
saying. That's what I'm
all these
saying.
three-letter agencies.
And when you start cleaning house in these areas, that's what makes me a little nervous, because it's like people could just start dropping like flies. You just don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And they are going to clean this up.
Well, those things are stubborn. People in those positions, they're not going to want to let go of those positions. They've been there forever.
I feel like a lot of information is going to be coming up too, about Antarctica
Hmm.
and the government.
That'll be interesting to see.
Spirit talked a lot about that in the last month. I told you about that though.
Yes, you did.
We talked about that. So be prepared for us finding out more information about Antarctica. Okay? There's a lot going on down there. Um, but the most important thing is, because we'll have this change in the resources globally, internationally, where certain people won't be able to ship to us, or like there's going to be this restrictive stuff. It has something to do with these ports and channels
Okay.
and the way the ships are coming in and out. And I feel like there's going to be some fighting over this from other countries. And this is where it's going to get tense.
Yeah.
And if people get upset, certain countries get upset.
Hmm.
Oh, well, if you don't do this for me, then I won't do that for you.
Yeah.
I see a lot of this stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like a ping pong match. Okay, this. And then it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, then fine. Then you can't sell us any of your goods, and then we won't,
Yeah.
something like this. And this very likely could come up, and we have to be careful. I'm not saying we're going to have a World War III, but this is where things could get heated.
Get dicey. Yeah.
Yeah. And I pray that that doesn't even go there. But because, like I was saying at the beginning of this recording, it was like I was talking about, we have this transit of, I can look at my notes here. Uranus and Gemini, the last transit was in 1941 to 1949. World War II happened, and then we
Yeah.
have this transit coming up on July 7th.
Oof.
little spooky, right?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like fun.
Now here's the thing. We don't want history to repeat itself. We don't.
Mhm.
But with the tensions that I'm feeling just based upon the downloads and the information from what Spirit had told me, we have to be careful,
Mhm.
stepping into the same mistakes that we have
Yeah.
done in the past. So we're being tested. And astrology is kind of bringing the planets and all these transits are bringing us, giving us an opportunity to say, do we have to go there?
Yeah.
So we'll see how this goes. But I also feel like there's going to be a big surge of children being born too. So like babies being born, but these kids that are coming in, the new babies that are coming in, they're here to change the game. This is this whole Pluto and Aquarius transit movement. And many of these kids that are being born, they may not want to have kids because they want to focus on changing things for the new earth or making things better
Hmm.
for us. So, but with the fertility and all these issues with women having trouble getting pregnant, we're going to see infertility on the rise, and they're going to start looking into that. And I also see a lot of emphasis on child vaccines.
Hmm.
We're going to be seeing a big change in that, where it's not so strict, or it's like not, they're not pushing it, just because of this change and shift just based upon astrology
Mhm.
and who's in power, the people in power.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, this is what I got so far for our 2025 predictions. There will be a part 2 to this. I got a lot more to talk about, but this is what I got for the moment. And until next time, thank you so much for listening.